wait, lick your lips. Okay.
Okay. You got it.
Nothing. Okay, so how's the beard? The beard good?
Powder. Under most circumstances, I would give some long-winded spiel about my guest today and go on and on and on about the amount of Transformers, G.I. Joes, Dragon Ball, Reboot, Mega Man, Gundam, He-Man characters he's been the voice of that could populate a small village, probably. I mean, Jesus Christ. Literally, he's been Jesus Christ. How's that for a poll? But no, you can look him up and probably look around the footage of all the PNGs of maybe like a zillionth of his resume. I have Scott McNeil today. Hi. And there we go. Hold on. Make sure to adjust your cell phones for the proper aspect ratio. There we are.
I tell you, somebody forgot to pay the gravity tax around here.
Sorry. Look,
it's our metric gravity we have here in Canada.
Good Lord. So this has been a long time in the making. By some miracle of Christ, I managed to nail you down. Don't take that out of context. And I'm so happy to have you here. Because I've wanted to do this interview with you for a very long time, and you're miming at me. Are you fucking miming at me? Are you miming at me? I hope you all get used to this. I'm
going to do the entire interview as a corporeal mime piece. There will be no dialogue.
Okay. Okay. So plug in your green tooth devices, everybody, right now, so you can actually understand this. Scottson, I would love for you to take me back to little tiny baby Scott. Who got in trouble at school doing crazy voices. You are Australian Canadian. I actually don't know if you were born there or just of heritage or grew up entirely in Canada, what the transition was, etc. And also, what's the deal with the Disneyland obsession? Why and how that sparked the whole? Give me what? Why?
Where I was born depends entirely on which Wikipedia you go to.
Right.
There's one that says I'm 6 foot bloody full. And I grew up in Wollongong, Australia. Was raised by the wild koalas. That one may be a little infactual. I was actually born in Vancouver.
Okay.
My father is Australian. When I was straight out of the womb, we moved down to bloody Brisbane.
Okay.
Where the fucking banana benders, as they were politely known. It's so hard to be Australian without swearing. I can't even tell you.
There's no holds bar here. And Brisbane, the lane.
Suddenly it all sounds like
the lane where everything's a question. What?
It's one of my bloody lines, mate. It's true, but it's more of a Sydney thing.
Right, of course.
And the new thing now, and I've noticed this watching TV, is there's this thing that happens with an Aussie accent that is a newer affectation or evolution, I guess. Is the ner, year.
Yes.
Ner.
Nauru.
I hear that in a lot of young Aussie women.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's like a Kardashian thing or what. But I'm just going, ner? What the hell is ner?
It's not.
I never grew up saying ner.
Yeah, Naru, Nauru. That's what
what you call it a nerve? It's not a bloody nerve.
Not really. I'm going.
So yeah, I was born. Then we moved back here. When I was little bitty baby.
Mm-hmm. You're really bringing me back with that. Really
yeah, no, and bringing me back too. Oh God, I have to call my therapist.
Do you have cognitive memories of living in Australia? Like actually,
do we have what?
Do you have actual cognitive memories of like living in Australia, or was that like so young that like it's like?
There is one picture of me, and I am backlit in glowing red as a small child. And I'm convinced that they're holding me over either the mouth of an active volcano or some sacrificial fire pit.
Or you're a horror movie like Demon Child of some kind.
Yeah, that and the giant flying fruit bats in the banana tree in the backyard in Brizzy, or the Brizzy River. I don't have a lot, to be honest. And seeing as we're being sincere, I'm not good at it. You know, my boy, in this business, sincerity is everything. And once you've learned to fake that,
you can.
So I don't remember
fake
a lot.
Sincerity, you can fake anything. So.
Yeah, I mean, I was like 3. I was hitting the bottle a lot. I could barely stand up. I could barely walk. I was totally obsessed with boobs.
Of course.
Like any other infant.
Of course. So
I was a drunk.
Yeah. So you are truly born and raised for the most part Vancouverite.
I am, for all wants and purposes and ins and outs and intents and purposes, an hygiene.
Right. So, the Disneyland obsession and getting your folks to take you there, where did that sprout from? Why? I know that was where the spark happened, but please tell me.
Well, it's funny you should ask me that, Chris. I'll tell you the story. There used to be, I think it was Revel, had a line of model kits. And I used to make models a lot when I was a kid. Because, where else are you going to go to play when you're crazy? And they were called Zap Action Kits. And there was like 7 of them from Pirates of the Caribbean and 4 of them from the Haunted Mansion. And you built the kits. And I discovered that if you mix black and silver, you get iron. Ooh. It's all coming back to me now, Marty. And then you pulled a little lever because you rigged it with an elastic band and something would move, like the little skeletons would go, "Key." And they blew my mind, and I then became, and in the back of comic books, that's right, we had comic books back then, and you read them, you didn't just collect them.
Read them on a site.
Yeah, they had these ads for various, and I just went, I need, in my world, in my like 11-year-old world, I have to be there. Mm-hmm. And so I launched a campaign. I've never been more focused in my ADD life than I was with this. For 6 long months, I used to cut out ads from there used to be a thing called newspapers. For travel agencies, there used to be a thing called travel agencies. For trip tours to Disneyland, I cut out every single one that I could get my hands on for 6 months. And like, in my dad's shaving soap, under his pillow, in his shoes, in the ceiling tiles so he could see them when he was asleep and dodging the giant man-eating Australian spiders. I think we covered I wasn't there at that point in my life.
I think our son's a fucking psychopath.
Yeah, absolutely. It was full-on OCD. Like, they should have had me tested then. And they didn't get me tested for a couple of years after that. But that was the thing. And finally, I weakened him from sheer insanity. And so the whole family went. And I was so, because I still have visions of this. We ended up like going to Knott's Berry Farm for a day. And I'm like, no, we're here for 7 days. 7 days. 7 days. Anyway, so, I just rode Pirates and I rode the mansion endlessly. And this is an old story, and you know it is, Chris. I'm in the Haunted Mansion. You hear that wonderful, welcome, foolish mortals. The beautiful dulcet tones of Paul Frees. Mm-hmm. And I was going, that is the coolest voice in the world. And then I found out that he was also the voice of the Pillsbury Doughboy. And it was like, what?
Which, by the way,
I'm not alone. Other people have the voices. And I went, that's what I want to do for a living. I want to work in Disneyland and live there forever. And my parents are like, well, honey, that's a different country and you can't go there. And you're a fucking idiot, if you ask me. Something wrong with the boy. I'm just saying. I don't know what the hell he's on about, but he's fucking weird. So anyway, that was my the clearest focus I've ever had in my life. Mm-hmm. And then there was no possible way that was ever going to happen. And then there's a long and involved roundabout story. And then I ended up being a voice actor. And I have, in fact, worked for Disney quite a few times. And I go there every chance I get.
I'm an hour away from land, so me too.
Why aren't we doing this interview at your place?
Honestly, you're welcome.
We could be doing it in the mansion.
You can sit right on my very nice cushy bed right here, and nothing weird will happen. I have to mention, when you say it's very ironic, and I learned this about 15 years later when I was having my Paul Frees hold on a minute dirt moment, when I realized, welcome, foolish mortals, is Shade Man from Mega Man, and the Pillsbury Doughboy is Fat Boo. I'm like, of course. Yeah. So you literally were doing that for a living, however many years later those two were.
And you figured out that there's actually only 3 primary voices. I have considered many times to write a book, breaking it down. So like the 3 primary colors. Mm-hmm. Only trouble is I've only really nailed one, and it's the Bing, based on Bing Crosby.
Okay.
Well, the pills burnt up, bang, and because you realize that the bang is placed in a place, and then suddenly while I was listening to, what the hell was it? Oh, damn it, Dale, there's something wrong with Bobby. And I went, that's the same placement. So that's one is the bang. And I know once I figure out the other two, then you just shuffle them and you can any color, any voice in the rainbow.
There's a bit of
including what is it? Olo, the new color they just discovered.
Was that a thing? Oh,
yeah. The scientists decided to fire laser beams into their own eyes. I'm not making this up, kids.
I believe you.
And they went, oh, can you see that weird? It's cyan.
Wow.
It's teal. So it's this brand new color that we're going to, market and sell and put tariffs on. And
oh, God.
It's going to be awesome.
We're recording this in May of 2025, ladies and gentlemen. Boy,
what's a tariff?
I'm so sorry. You, as you mentioned, long path to eventually Doug Parker, first commercial audition, G.I. Joe auditions. So remind me, you studied at Studio 58 in Canada?
You are correct, sir.
Now,
yes.
Now I understand that is like, from what I understand, that's like the prestigious, like that's the acting school. I don't know if that's still the case in Vancouver.
It was 106 years ago, dude.
Wow.
I have no idea.
But
it's still going. I know it is. As a matter of fact, one of my old instructors lives about a block and a half up the street from me.
Oh, okay.
He goes, I don't get it. Our theater students don't usually live here. It's like, well, sometimes we get lucky.
Because I went to art school. I went to animation school. I just actually finished it literally when I met you at the con we did years ago. And I know that
Yumacon, Detroit.
Yumacon 2011, all that time ago. And it's funny because I remember, I have my own, deal of just going to an artsy school, not an acting school, but an artsy school. We had an acting program there. Any standout, like just crazy, weird college memories of anything to do with anything that are shareable, I suppose?
Well, other than being kicked unceremoniously out in my fifth term and being told I would never make it as an actor.
What do they know?
And that nobody would ever want to hear those, and I quote, silly little voices of mine.
My God. What did you do? What did you do that you were such a troublemaker about? My God.
I think I just had a career to spite them. It's true.
Good Lord. So then what is that, like a year and a quarter? What is that?
That was almost 2 years.
Okay.
It was a 6-term program. There was a change of power that happened.
Ooh.
Right as I was coming back after taking a summer off, and it was like, oh, well, the brilliant person who ran this program, I presume, late great Anthony Holland, who was in the very first cartoon show I ever did, The New Adventures of He-Man.
Yes.
So he had run it, we started it at the Bristol Old Vic in England, and then he brought the program here, and then there was a complete change because, of course, North America, it's like, you're old now. You have to retire. You have nothing valuable to give the kids.
Oh, wow. So
change of scenery, and the first thing that the new administration did was kind of go, I always hated you. He does characters. Like, it's theater school, dear boy, theater school.
Taking it seriously. Because I know, for so many people, especially now with just how much that shit costs, a lot of artists and actors and people I meet now are just like, don't even do it. Don't waste your money. Were the 2 years that you did you have any kind of good time? Did you actually?
Oh, I had a ball.
Yeah, okay. So.
Like, I had way too much. I think they just went like, his brain is so multi-fractured. Mm-hmm. He's so unable to focus and like learn a script or do anything. It's like, I live in cartoons.
But they're so they
didn't. Well, so, I think Gary went there, Gary Chalk.
Okay.
And graduated. I think Brian Drummond is also alumni.
Yes, and his wife too. Yeah.
Yeah. And then oddly enough, from my high school, Phil Hayes, Terrell Rothery, and myself, from a completely non-theatrical high school, it just randomly happened. It was like, can you go to Amber? Do we used to like smoke in the back where with Yeah, sweet, Brad. I remember you.
That must I have to imagine, because I mean, you've worked with literally, I think, every human being in the city. Because from my own perspective, I have my this is funny, little side tangent. We did a sequel to Inuyasha, and well, no, I wasn't involved with it, but in LA we did it, and they brought, thankfully, all the legacy characters. Richard, everybody came back remote.
Almost all the legacy characters.
Yes, yeah, with some exceptions. Cough, cough. But the new characters were all...
man, you will be
where I was.
It's a dog thing.
I was waiting for literally.
I know you were. I know. I'm testing to see if you know everything I've ever said.
I wanted that. No. I was waiting for him to show up at a single goddamn episode of that show, and I'm like, come on, just something.
Okay, so it wasn't like Beast Wars, where I was suddenly played by SpongeBob.
No. Kogo was not in the show at all. So literally anybody that was in the show from the previous series, they brought back literally. In fact, even, God rest his soul, Kirby did the first episode. The first episode that was a trooper. It was amazing hearing him and Rich and everybody, Kelly, everybody again.
Yeah.
And then the wonderful Ian Corlett, who shared many anime roles with him, took over, did the rest of the series after that. Great match. But when that show was happening, the folks that were from my generation, that we were all kind of starting around the same time, they were all playing the daughters and sons of the characters that were from the original show. So yeah, right.
What? Speak up! Yeah, you're mumbling.
Lord Almighty.
You're tinged with your techniques and am I wearing pants?
The worst. Well, you could check on camera, please.
I'm wearing camel pants. You can't see them.
I don't care who you are. That's hot.
Thank you.
Whole reason that one with the thing was, so I imagine if you knew Phil and Terrell and some of these folks like from that early on, I have to imagine when you guys are all starting roughly around the same time, you're just like, dude, holy shit, we're doing shows together. We're doing this.
Well,
it's real.
I mean, it would be a great story if that was the case, but I mean, Phil and Terrell and I were all different grades in school.
Okay.
And I started a long time before those kids did, I can tell you. 35 years before the microphone now, man and boy. That's right, microphones.
That's right, tape.
We just used to hold the tape up and you had it. Okay, it's the same bit, but I used a slightly different voice.
I'm so proud of you. Okay, I'm gonna get to something.
Ever growing, ever evolving, an ever evolving workabout. One must move with the times, you know.
I'm gonna go to a dark place now, because this is something I've been very curious about for many years, because I have also, and my people of my generation, have experienced similar things.
What do you mean, your people?
Listen, we're all of the same people.
We are the same people. All of us.
So you mentioned He-Man was your first series.
Yeah.
But I know that it was not your first recording session for a cartoon. And I know you have talked about your first recording session for a cartoon was rather traumatizing. And
no, that was my first audition for a cartoon.
Got it. Okay. Yes. So I know you have talked many, many times about how literally that was so insane that you were like, I don't think I want to do this anymore. Now, as you know, having gone to 7 million conventions, there are more people than ever 10, 15, 20 years ago. I want to do this. And now they're doing it. Being the new kid, no matter where you are, is hard. I will bleep this. On the directed by what was it that was so absolutely insane that literally it almost discouraged you from doing the thing that you have been a 30-year professional of doing?
Well, I hadn't been a 30-year professional at the time. That was my very first experience ever going in to do this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like so wide-eyed and just like, this is fucking amazing. And I remember Doug said, you got this thing? And they wanted a Flip Wilson's Geraldine. See, Flip Wilson was a comedian back in the day. You could buy his records, his albums. And he had this character. Anyway, I can't do it, but it was because it was kind of weird because it was taking over the voices from an existent show. I think it was done now. Anyway, I'm not going to mention any names because you already have, but the gentleman that was in charge of that was a much more colorful man than we were anticipating at the time.
Right.
A bundle of energy and a ball of fire, and a man of great passion and unrestrained opinion.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, he was a fucking nut job. In the audition, it was like, why is this man screaming at me, throwing things in the studio? Like, what the fuck does he want from me? It was weird. It was downright abusive.
Did you do, related to this, did you do any, maybe some bits or anything on Captain N, the Game Master? Because that would have been around that same time.
According to the interwebs, I was.
Okay.
According to me, I wasn't, unless I hadn't been paid for it, and I did.
I think I did.
No, that was exactly the same era, though. I think it was Kissy Fur and Captain N. I know Matty Hill. I just ran into him a little while ago, unfortunately, at a memorial service, but distracted by grief.
Matt was on that, of course.
Yeah, he was on. So everybody assumed that I was in that one, but I wasn't. Because I skipped the audition for that one. That's how it ties back into the other story. Because Doug called me and said, look, I've got this other show. We'd really like to have you come in and do stuff on it. And I went, I am never going near that place with that person again.
Right.
Ain't worth the pain. And I didn't. And then Doug called me back and went, look, we got I'm going, like He-Man? Okay. So I went in and got that. And the rest is truly in my mind.
I just as one last aside of that, the reason I asked about Captain N is because AJ, as a tiny baby, like younger than Maddie was, literally so-and-so was like, AJ, give me more. And he's like, little baby 13-year-old whatever Alessandro Giuliani, the illustrious, and I'm like, good lord.
Who I just saw again the other day at the same event that Maddie was at, and I haven't seen these guys in years.
They're doing cons left and right. Some of them are with my con agency, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, that's actually what Maddie said too. He's like, I'm going like, are you working? Is anybody? He's like, no, but dude, thank God for cons, right?
Oh my God, dude.
That was the standard Matt Hill impersonation, and for some reason, the standard Gary Chalkwin with "Hey, I'm a monkey." Gary was never once speaking like a monkey.
Please, okay. I'm going to jump ahead of that because it's relevant to this moment. That is a thing that I have noticed that everybody, at least of a particular ilk of you guys, everybody's got an impression like, oh, sorry, Sue, Don Brown.
Sorry, Sue.
And,
shoot.
Evidently, from what I have heard, everybody's impression of Scott is just, tax season's coming up. I was trying.
No, you know what? The only person I've ever seen do that is Corlett.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I feel like I've met at least 3 or 4 people that, and I'm like, he doesn't sound like that. That's not that's Wolverine. That's not Scott.
Well, I like to think that people think I sound as cool as that.
Wow.
But it was like, dude, I was Grumpy Bears too. Okay. That's just the way it is.
While I'm also thinking, because he just popped into my mind, I mentioned before, because you've worked with everybody ever. I love Don Brown.
I've never worked with Kevin Bacon.
What, man?
I have 1 degree of.
Okay. Oh, right. Of course, as we all. But
Christopher Plummer shot me in the chest twice.
That sounds about right. I mean,
same bullet hole.
Did Jamie?
It's a hell of a good shot.
Did Jamie Lee Curtis help him aim? I hope so.
She could have helped me.
Ooh. Don Brown, I adore so much.
Oh, sure. Everybody loves Don.
He has never done, as far as I know, any interview, any convention, any appearance. We didn't even know what he looked like until maybe about 5 years ago when he put a single picture of himself on the internet because I think he thought his identity was being stolen.
Right.
All I literally know is, oh, sorry, Sue, and I gotta go check my tires. That's all I know about that. And like, eat Walla. Oh, I read the stage direction. Literally, those things I know. What? Please tell me about this man. Like,
Don was the most. Don is, and I hope still is. Just everybody was endlessly fascinated by Don because, like, pathologically nice.
Yeah.
Absolutely nobody. Yeah, I've never heard Don swear. And so energetic and so enthusiastic. And he did voices and stuff that I've still never heard anybody even come close to.
Mm-hmm.
He could do stuff with his voice that was amazing. And I don't know what Don's backstory was getting into it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't think he was ever an actor, but Don, and it's just strange that all of those Donisms, I mean, that was sort of in the era, it was me and Corlett and Dale Wilson and Gary. And so it just became, and working with wonderful, my other favorite director and my first favorite director, Sue Blue, who I got to see not that long ago, which was awesome.
The sweetest, truly.
Yeah, I learned a lot. Like when I was starting out, Sue was the one that I learned a tremendous amount from. But Don there was this Donishness about Don. He would like enter the room and like he was enthused like a 4-year-old, and I think he was like in his 60s then.
Wow,
he's insanely healthy.
Yeah.
And he had this amazing Bob Ross perm and.
Yeah.
And he was always so, when he screwed up, he was oh, sorry, Sue. That was as coarse as he ever got. I wasn't there for the infamous, I gotta go check my tire.
Oh, okay.
But I think I was there for Viola, and Eat Walla was the one that stopped the whole show.
Oh, yeah, I've got it. I mean,
you know the story behind that, right?
Yeah, I read the stage direction.
Yeah. Oh, shoot.
Oh, jeez.
But he did it with such verve. Like, he didn't just go, my character goes then, Eat Walla. He was like, Eat Walla. And he put everything he had into it. And then everybody just went, and that was it.
I don't know if I don't know how familiar you are with like every other Dragon Ball character, but he played a character on your guys' dub, Mr. Satan, who is that like big oafish, like, yeah, I'm the guy who beat Cell. It was me. He's useless and an idiot. He's got the big froze. Yeah. He's like a shitty Macho Man, Randy Savage type character. And I was like, oh, Don plays him in the Canadian version. I'm like, oh, now that makes sense. Now I'm like, oh, you just lived there, because I'm so used to like his, oh yes, it's like that.
Yeah. Well, Don had a vocal range, or has a vocal range, I hope, that was staggering. Mm-hmm. He did this rock gravel character that, like, if you took Inspector Claw from Inspector Gadget, but then just put so much more texture onto it. I learned a lot of any of the more sort of textury voices, the more manipulated voices that I've done in my career. I learned a lot of it from watching Don and just going, how does he make that sound happen?
Yeah.
Like, he could really go anywhere with great verve and sincerity. Oh, look, man, it's Elvis over there. Just hang on a second.
Oh, son of a bitch. Oh, man. I got the chops coming in right now for Elvis.
I'm just working on my Scott McNeil impression.
Ooh. I was reminded, actually, speaking of Dragon Ball for a second, because kind of parallel to that time of those early days. So dubbing comes in, not all exclusively Japanese stuff, but then it became a lot of that, of course.
Yeah, we did a lot of weird stuff in the early parts, like weird French things and Ukrainian, Yugoslavian, and Russian, Serbian, Martian.
The best.
Just if you were paying attention.
No, you can't top the original Martian language of anything. Like, the dub's just
it's true
to it, frankly. What I had noticed is that a good chunk of the folks at the not everybody, but a chunk of them at the very beginning, guys like Gary and Jim Burns and Phil, they did a little teeny bit of that at the beginning and didn't carry on with that. But you and the majority of others, knowing, obviously, I know the contracts were shit back then.
Yeah, well, and I've said this many times, like, dubbing was kind of secondary.
Right.
A lot of the anime that we ended up doing became insanely popular, much more so than, but, the bread and butter in our business, financially and artistically too, it's way more fun, was all the relay stuff, all that, like, the entire cast is in with the scripts and we're working together, and it paid like a gazillion times better.
Of course.
The dubbing at the time, the alleged Ocean Group, which has never existed.
Yeah.
Is
the
a complete
internet still
myth.
thinks that's
I know
all
it does.
of you guys.
The internet still thinks I'm 6'4" and I come from fucking the land down under in a place called fucking Wollongong, where my friend Big Kathy Parker is actually from. Hey, Kathy, if you're watching. So yeah, that was just kind of something you did, and it was like you'd fit that in on a lunch break or whatever. I've never said no to work. Which is why I think, people are like, dude, you worked all the time. I said, well, fuck, I like being busy. I like it when I was working 7 days a week, 24/7, which actually occurred for about a 6-week period of my life.
I was going to bring that up. Was that when you were
Okay, well, I'll wait for that one.
No, it's okay. No, yeah, because I remember you talked about that actually going way back on Trevor's podcast long time ago. Yeah, I was like, holy shit, when you were doing the Turtle Show. But
you could hear it over the sound of the ice and the vodka.
every episode. That's how he.
Oddly enough, that's what I remember of Trevor's podcast.
That's how he bribed every single one of his guests. 100%.
Yeah.
Because I figured for the majority of people, it was just as simple as it's another job, whatever. Yeah, different jobs pay different things. But I will say, and if you're lying to me, then you've fooled me for many years. But I feel like when you've talked about your experiences doing anime shows, even knowing like I'm by myself, the pay sucks. Sometimes I don't know what the fuck is happening. But like, my God, dude, you fucking commit to those roles. And like, you will always have some kind of, like the Koga thing you were doing earlier, you have some kind of anecdote of like, no, this is something that matters. This isn't just whatever, who gives a shit. Like, you know.
I mean, it never is for me personally. When I'm in the studio working, I give 100. That's not mathematically possible. I give 110%. I always do. I always have. Mm-hmm. You know, sometimes it's like, okay, Scott, can you rein it back a little? But I would rather a director ask me that than go, okay, so these this new generation, can we get them to do anything, or are we just going to let the animators fix this? Can I say that with my outside voice?
Oh shit.
But yeah, so I mean, because I believe in what I do no matter what. Like, you know, I've always said, if you're not having fun, it doesn't matter if you're playing Satan or a small blob of crime-fighting condiment or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's like, I always just go like, as walls to the ball as one possibly can.
I mean, like, literally, I showed, I had a couple of recent friends that were DBZ robbed as kids, and we watched Kai, because I wanted to have it be done in a short amount of time. But I showed them the 3 films, the movies that you did right before Funny moved everything to Dallas. Right. And because that was the one, we're going to get to Dragon Ball later, but that was the one little taste we got of like, what if the Ocean cast got to do uncut Dragon Ball? And literally, Garlic Jr. movie opens up with you screeching for like a solid 30 seconds as Piccolo. And I'm like, the Japanese guy didn't even do that shit, man. Like,
I met him.
Lord. Did you meet Japanese Piccolo?
I did in Denver, I think. And we did simultaneous special beam cannons.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
You know, I mean, that was the other side of, you know, when we were doing all this dubbing, I mean, you're literally sitting in a little box someplace in a basement. Like Gundam Wing, I mean, we were really in a basement.
Oh, yeah.
So we had no idea that this stuff was ever going anywhere. Mm-hmm. You know, we're like, we're doing G.I. Joe and X-Men and, you know, people, no idea. It wasn't until I first started attending some conventions, like at the end of the night, I think the first con I did was in 1999. Mm-hmm. And seeing, that was specifically a Beast Wars thing, and that was such a blow. But then I got invited to a couple of anime cons, and it was shocking to me.
Oh my God!
The impact. Yeah, well, literally, I mean, there was like teenage girls fainting in my arms.
Yep. Yeah.
And I'm going, huh? And that's when I started to realize that like people were watching it and embracing it and really getting involved in it, much more so than we thought. We thought it's like, you know, people are like, can you do the line from the? It's like, I'm going, if I do quotes from those shows now, it's because wonderful people at cons have given me a cheat sheet.
Of course, yes.
Because I'm going like, you know, I've done 15,000 episodes of cartoon. I don't remember and so now it's, you know, I will make you this promise. I will be the god of death once more. But right now, I need some sleep.
Scott,
that's only because somebody literally gave me a list of, here's the lines that people are going to ask you to do.
I wanted to cut in when you were doing the I will make you this promise. Like, that was great. Scott, could we get the TV censored version now?
Oh, yeah, that's another story.
Yeah.
I will be the great destroyers back from lunch. But you know what? We got paid by the line, so.
And you know what? At least in that era, it was a rare treat when, we'll actually do the uncut DVD version, because sometimes...
Well, this thing, I mean, it was pretty new to North American, or at least I thought, although I've said this before, I remember as a kid, rushing home at 3:30 after school to watch Battle of the Planets.
Gotcha, man. Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah. But I remember going like, who watches this anime stuff? And it was like,
me, in fact.
I did. I actually got to do a later version of that. And I'm like, and they were going, Scott, it's just, I'm going, no. This one I get.
Yeah.
This one I'm pretty stoked about.
Trevor said the exact same thing. I think he was the bad guy in that. I don't think that ever got released either. I
don't think so either. But
no, dude, my first job was Pokemon. And I'm like, are you shitting me? I would pay you to do this. Good Lord.
My first job was He-Man. And it was like, hello. What?
Going back 50 subjects. Okay, that time of not sleeping for 6 weeks. You're doing Turtles.
I was working on about 6 or 7 different cartoon shows.
Yeah.
A bunch of Deke shows, I know, because that was the sort of the sticking point.
Yeah.
And then I auditioned for and was offered Turtles. And I went, well, look, this is a month and a half's work. This is really cool. And it was such a stupidly fun character. For me, who got in trouble in theater school for, being cartoony, it was like, I'm doing a TV show. It's a freaking cartoon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get in there and crack some skull. So I had a ball doing it, but it was pretty ghetto, to be honest.
Yeah.
But the producers of the cartoon shows were going, well, Scott, you can't do both. Like, we'll just replace you because cartoon voiceover in a world where everybody's really talented and good at voices.
Mm-hmm.
Not much job security.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've had a friend of mine who was a voice actor as well, dub my voice for me in a television live action thing once. He came in and goes, I just did the weirdest gig. I'm like, what?
Did you? Like, ooh.
Yeah, I went in and voiced you in a TV series because apparently you weren't available or something. I'm like, did you make me sound good? I don't know. So no, but where was I going with that? ADD brain, come on. Combined with early onset
no sleep for 6 weeks.
Oh, okay. So they went like, look, Scott, you got to make choice. You can't do both.
Yep.
And again, one of those few moments of actual clarity in my fractured world. I just went, you know what? This is somehow going to work. Yep. And I told my agent, it was like, fuck it, we're taking Turtles.
Okay.
And it turned out that was all night shoots.
Oh, right.
So for 6 weeks, I would be in the studio. I'd be working on one series in the morning and then a bunch of, would be doing dubs and commercials and stuff on lunch. Mm-hmm. And then another series in the afternoon. And I'd be in the studio at 9:00 in the morning, work until 5, be on set for Turtles at 6:30, shoot until 7:30 or 8:00 in the morning, straight back to the studio, Monday through Saturday for 6 weeks. It was the greatest time of my life.
Financially,
except for by the end of it, starting to just like randomly in mid-sentence fall asleep in the studio. I'm like, I can't believe how fucking energized I am. This is no good. Okay, action. What? It's like Scott, you're here. Wow. You're safe. You're safe. It's friends.
Was that never? Did you ever have a time like that in your life ever?
Not that absurd amount of overwork. I mean, for any kind of television acting or, because especially live action, you're doing one thing and you're doing that thing for as long as that show goes, and that's it.
Yeah.
I must have been working collectively between the Turtles and the cartoons on probably 8 or 9 series all simultaneously.
Yeah.
It was a cha-ching moment in my life, for sure.
Well, especially because my fucking God, dude. I mean, like the mid to late 90s and first half of the 2000s, you guys did everything. Like literally, like I would turn on Kids WB, Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, whatever, and I'm like, there they are. There's Scott and there's Venus and Kirby and Matt and Colin, you name it. My God. So after Turtles, I know you would still, because I like you're great in Scooby Doo, love that the mystery and cool all that.
That was another one where they went because they hired me as a suit guy.
Yeah.
Because I was a dancer and a mime and all these other weird things, so. They hired me to do the suit part, which is great. And then when it was done, my agent got a call going, hey, you know what, just to let you know, like, terrific hats off. Like, he was so great as a suit guy. He's one of the best. But because backing up, when we kept doing it, I'm going, okay, you know what? I mean, I grew up on Scooby-Doo.
Of course.
Completely grew up on Scooby-Doo. directed by the wonderful firehouse that was Wally Burr.
Yes, rest in peace, rest in power.
Yeah, rest in peace, man. I tell you, Wally and I had some. But later in life, man, I grew to appreciate that man so much.
Yeah. That
guy had a story that like would just you nobody can compete. Anyway, so where was I going?
Scooby-Doo, doing that.
Okay, so now they finish and they call my agent. They go, yeah, we're gonna bring in it because I kept going. When are we gonna record the dialogue for this? Because I'm wearing animatronic face. And they go, oh, yeah, don't worry about that. We'll just record it, and they got everything wild, like in a metal box someplace with a little Radio Shack microphone in the corner. I'm like, because, I know that, I would have made it too if it weren't for you meddling kid. There's a certain Scooby-Doo-ness to it.
Of course.
But so they called my agent. They went, yeah, terrific job, but we're going to hire an actual voice actor to come in and record the dialogue.
Well.
And so Jenny called me and she's like, well, this is the situation. I went, well, get me an audition. Mm-hmm. And I might be embellishing. I can't tell anymore because time. Mm-hmm. But I like to think that I'm not. So I go into the audition, all the producers are on the phone and stuff, and they're all patched in for the session. And so I do my thing, citizens of Coolsville. And in my version of the story, anyway, I was like, okay, you know what? That's fucking perfect. And I like to think that I just pulled my mask off and went, hi. Me. Anyway, I got the job.
Yeah. God.
It still didn't quite let me do it the way I wanted it to, but
yeah. I found out, side note again, I found out the last time I rewatched that, because I remember you were in it. I remember, there's Peter New, and there's, every time I watch a thing shot in Vancouver, I'm playing guess the voice actor. But I found out, funnily enough, those are on camera. The monsters, the rest of the monsters you summon, those were all old school anime guys that I knew from here that happened to do that. I guess they, for whatever reason. So weird melding of the
what, did the voice work for them, or did
for the other monsters that are in that one? Yeah, they were like Mike Sorich and guys like that I knew.
Yeah, I know. Because I'm trying to think. The Black Knight was Kevin Durand, who I know. I just for some reason saw some stuff about him as the Blob in X-Men.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, I didn't get to be an X-Men. Because they went, yeah, we can't use Scott in anything because he was Wolverine. And I'm like, I just want to be a waiter.
Even though, by the way, it's funny. I know you've talked about that many times. You know what fucking pisses me off? They did have people from the cartoon in it.
Yeah, I know. I think Dave Kay had a little pop in it.
George Buza, who is the original Beast and the Toronto 90s one,
was
in the first movie. And I'm like, anyway, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so still doing on camera, but for the most part, I know you make the commitment. You're doing VO. You are top of your fucking game. You're doing a million things. So talking about your colleagues having impressions of you, I know that often they love to, and I'm not poking fun. I'm going somewhere with this. They love to take the piss out of you about how you don't want to audition before Scott. He's going to take 5 years to.
Yeah, back in the day.
But
my thing was the more spaghetti you throw at the wall, the better chance you have of something sticking. So I would read for everything.
Do you do a fair bit, whether it's auditioning or recording? What is your preparation like? Are you reading boards? Are you reading scripts? Are you preparing?
You know what? In the day when the best work was done, I mean, this sounds very bitter and jaded, but the industry is very different now. Because back in the day, you would go in, you would get the scripts and the character breakdowns for everything they wanted. And then you would go into a studio and there would be either the director or a casting director there. And, most people will get 10 minutes. I'd usually be about 20. And so you're working with the casting director and you're working with the director. And it was like, okay, so you had a chance to really throw things around. Okay, Beast Wars happened because Doug Parker was casting it, and I did one thing and he's like, that's so cool. But you know what? Try adding this. And then remember that thing you did on that other thing? Put some of that in there too. And so you get this incredible creative, La Brea Tart bit of bubbles of genius coming up from also. So auditioning was so much fun. Mm-hmm. Now I literally, I have my studio is upstairs and I get, just a little paragraph breakdown. And it's usually don't do anything weird. You can't play this. You can't be that. Although it's open for all castings of all everything.
75% of the time.
No, nothing. No people to talk to. So I just, basically I'll get a script and go, okay, I'll give you 1, 2, 3 different versions of this that I think might be right because I have no idea.
Yeah.
That's why I think, the very best people in this industry here aren't working because we don't get a chance to.
Yeah.
We just don't get a chance to do what we do so well, which is all this character work and, being able to play 9 different characters. And the current regime just no, that makes us uncomfortable. We don't like
not
that.
Even that. But also, for Christ's sake, again, May 2025, last I've heard, you guys got Ninjago.
Yeah.
The end. And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
It makes me.
Well, the new 100% tariff, the new 100% tariff ain't going to help.
Yeah. I'll get to that later, for Christ's sake. Well,
yeah, we'll see how that plays out.
Here's something, and this is actually going back again to the Dragon Ball thing for a second, because this is also something I've always been curious about. I've asked many people, I'm like, where did this archetypal thing that people know you for come from? So Dragon Ball, I imagine probably you read for everybody. To my recollection, I'm sure it probably came from something before this, but the Piccolo thing that also I hear in Wolverine, I hear in many other characters, that kind of placement, that sort of character.
There's only 3 voices.
Where
Seth MacFarlane, they just did a great thing on Family Tie where they Family Guy, they actually riffed on that.
Yeah.
They had, I think, what's Lois's dad and then the doctor, and it was like, hey, you sound like. And they both just kind of looked at the camera and went, there's only so many voices. There's only so many voices.
Yeah. Where
and that was 2 completely different shows and 2 completely different eras. So, and I get the breakdown. It was like, well, yeah, Wolverine's going to sound like Wolverine. Mm-hmm. And Piccolo, I think, was first. And that was I think I heard a little snippet of the Japanese. Okay. And I looked at the character and I went, okay.
Because I remember a friend of mine at the time, I think when the cast change was still fresh, so that's a long time ago even then.
Yes, it was.
They were like, there was like a demon, because he's a demon. There's a demonic quality to that. And but I've always been like, oh, is that, because again, I think about the Paul Free stuff. It's like, is that something specific? Is that inspired by anything at all specific?
No, not really. I wish there was a better answer for that, but this was literally just going in and going, okay, there's this other weird anime show. I think we had actually done Dragon Ball first.
Yeah.
I think I played Garlic. And I just remember going, so when they name characters in these shows, do they just I'm going to open up a utensil drawer.
Yeah, their food.
All right, this is spatula. This is stirring spoon. This is corkscrew. Ooh. Hey, the underwear drawer. Dr. Briefs. Pantalo. It's like, so we're going I don't know what this stuff is. It wasn't as deeply thought out as okay, so this character, this green guy. I think, with me, for the most part, especially then, I think the best stuff I got to do was always, have I mentioned the ADHD thing at all? Because I'm terrible at preparing for auditions. The best times I've ever had an audition is just going in there completely in panic mode and just opening my mouth and shit just comes out. And people are like, where did that come from? I'm like, I don't know. But they're like, that was fucking great. Keep that, do that. That's going back to when you used to be able to really go in and play. I referred to the studio used to be, when I used to teach, it was like, these are the monkey bars.
Yeah.
You can't make mistakes there. Mm-hmm. Recording in my home studio based on a little short description of something, you don't have that same luxury and that same freedom. You just sit there and go, well, what are they going to try to think that they want? And
it's ironic. I just had a callback for an audition that I did at the last second, not thinking about it at all, very much like a lot of stuff is now. And even just getting to go in and be with a human to make adjustments, I brought an additional thing to do. I literally was like, I haven't done this in 6 years. I need to take it while I have the chance. You kidding me?
Okay, so, for any up and comers coming back, that used to be the thing that I learned when I was starting, and I continued to stress when I used to teach, was you're going to go in, have 3 different choices.
Yep.
Because one of 2 things was going to happen back in the day when you were auditioning and all the clients are there, and is either be like, they turn the mic off and they're like, oh my God, that is absolutely perfect. We cannot get better than this. Okay, let's just see what else he's got. Okay, yeah, you got anything else, Scott? And I've seen really good performers, and they go, and they just do the same thing again, and they're like, oh shit.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, or even
whereas if they genuinely go, okay, yeah, you know what, that was the worst piece of shit I've ever seen. You got anything else? And if you don't got something else, they just go, okay, well, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Whereas, I mean, one of the reasons that a lot of us worked as much as we did in the day was when they said, okay, that sucks. What else you got? You go, okay, well, I got this. How about this? I got this. You want to try this? You want to do this? How about if we throw this in? How about if we do that? Okay. And they start going like, can we just hire them to shut them up?
Yeah, no, can we? Oh, we have literally, we can throw you 2 to 3 to 6 additional, whatever.
Yeah, and plus, said you were reading for and doing multiple characters. And that little toolbox that I used to stress, being able to just, like DBZ, I think I auditioned for Piccolo, and then the rest, like after the first 2 episodes, they just started going, okay, there's this other character.
Yeah.
Who's here? Okay, you're playing this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy too. And beep, 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 go. Like no prep, no. So you're like, and so those were literally made up on the spot.
I love, by the way, very perfect segue. This took me a good 20 years to realize that Jace is, because he's a red dwarf, he's Dave Lister. I'm like,
Dave Lister. That's one of those shows that, like, I love. I still have them on DVD. It's like you're always worrying about it, man. It's this beautiful Manchester accent.
Oh God.
And oh sir, if I had a stomach, I could just barf, sir.
Sir.
Where do you get voices from? I steal them and borrow them all the time. So I'd never thought, I used to just do that one as a voice that I did to amuse myself. And then when Jace came along, it was like, I don't know who suggested it, whether it was just and I just went like, I got a voice for him.
He's literally,
so yeah, I completely stole Dave Lister's voice.
He's a red dwarf. I'm like, come on. I love, by the way, the irony. I don't know if
see, that makes me sound way more clever. He's a red dwarf.
Just pretend that's that's
what I was thinking there, Chris, at the time. I'm just saying. I know who can do a legit Aussie accent.
Weird.
Which I've very rarely ever done on a cartoon show.
Well, or when they do, is it? Oh, but I know this is something that's always like the Australian, what region? The Australian region.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want them from? It's a big country. I think the first Aussie character I ever played was a character on G.I. Joe. I don't remember what it was. Mm-hmm. Skymate. Okay. So I went, look, what do you want? Like, do you want them from this to New South Wales? Yeah, it's going, rural, there's the economic variance and stuff. And that's when I learned that no, they wanted fucking cartoon Australian
every time,
where everything's going to be like this, mate. Mm-hmm. So, Gunga Din and all that didgeridoo. So I went, okay. It's the same with a lot of accents in cartoons. There's the real version, then there's the cartoon version.
Yeah. And the cartoon version is slowly going the way of the dinosaur.
Yes, it is.
Now, so.
It's like, hey, guess what? Those guys that did the cartoon versions, we can do the real one too,
Yeah.
Just saying. Just throwing that out there and just saying,
Okay. Once you keep reading my brain, what you just did a second ago.
I have an app.
I want to. You got blue sphincter. That's disgusting. I'm gonna cut that anyway. I want to mention a show. Probably like 99% of people that love your work and know your stuff and know your everything don't bring up. You have done 3 different incarnations of Mega Man.
This is true.
Yes. The little one-off anime straight to DVD thing where with British Wily.
There was the British Wilians and there was some more evil. Yes. They're here to take over the world.
Yeah, whatever, Doc.
Yeah, that was me too.
Absolutely. Back when all mad scientists were fully German.
Of course, it's mandatory. But I didn't have a monocle. Just saying. Actually, a lot of people. That's not one of the obscure shows. I was thinking of first, and of course, my brain is. But I thought of something the other day, and I thought, never in my wildest has anybody ever come up and said, "Do you remember working on?" And it was one like that. And it was actually kind of a big show. And I'm like, yeah, it just went away. Like, nope.
Well,
nope. Nope.
So NT Warrior, which was the like Mega Man, but it's the internet that you guys did for like 100, 200 episodes at Ocean forever, and there were, by the way, about 200 more we didn't get, unfortunately, which sucks because, but not even that was like the best show or whatever that you guys did, but it was such a huge inspirational favorite of mine. I learned a lot from everybody. Literally, I think everybody in Vancouver was on that show, as upwards of 3 people.
Quite likely. Well, that was the later.
That was the anime one. That was the later anime one.
Yeah, because I think I was all the men in that one, like Beastman, Cutman, Shademan, Spectre Man, Sphincter Man. Blue Sphincter Man.
Going back and rewatching that show, because by the way, they did this was cool. They did a collection of the video games, which were for the Game Boy Advance at the time.
Yeah.
And they brought Andrew as Mega Man to come back and do like the menu.
Little Andy Dandy.
Which was great. Oh yeah. Which made me cry hearing that again. And they re-put all the episodes for free on the Capcom YouTube for a hot minute. I went back and rewatched everything, and I'm like, this shit's genius. Like, everybody's so funny. And what I realized with you in particular, I swear to God, this must have just been Carl and James being like, I don't know, have fun. What do you get? Do anything. Because I'm like, Gutsman is your old-fashioned cheapos stuff. Yeah. Shade Man is...
That's not what's weird to do, because I'm going, no, that's Gary. I can't do it. Gutsman is Gary.
Which, like, he was. Gary
was
in the prelay. Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, yeah. And then Terry was Cutman of the old one, and then you did the whole Cutman mafioso family.
Yeah.
And hearing them, I'm like, Rat Trap, Sheldon Leonard, Woody Allen,
well done, sir.
Woody Allen, Harvey Feisty, and I'm like, oh, they're every New York and New Jersey Jewish like stereotype. Like,
you know what? I'm so impressed that you picked up the Sheldon Leonard.
So happy in this town,
because that was one of my I going like, sometimes the weird impressions are the ones that you can get work with.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I've always done Sheldon Leonard.
Yeah.
And another thing, in this place, we don't meet anyone given the place atmosphere. In this place, we serve hard drinks to men who want to get drunk fast. Nick, the bartender from It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh, yeah. And
I went, I heard that voice and I did it, and I went, who knows? Maybe I can use that someday.
Yeah. Turns out they made all because that was, which was brilliant too, making this Yakuza family of Cutmen into mafioso. I'm like, that makes total sense. I love that. Absolutely.
I'd say I basically used every gangster voice I could probably think of at the time.
I have a funny story, and this is something I told you at GomaCon, but I'm going to put it out.
Hey, look, it's Elvis.
Oh man. So there was a character that I didn't know for a few years you played on that show. This was the second season of that. They called him Savage Man in the dub. He was originally Beast Man, which funnily enough, you in He-Man did a Beast Man.
Yeah.
And it was effectively your Dr. Claw thing. Yep. So now that's one of those voices a lot of people can do, so it's hard to vocally tell who's doing it. So I couldn't tell in his first episode that was you. Back in the day, because unfortunately that dub was one of the censored, changed around, type ones, a lot of people had sticks up their ass about the show, but I was one of the only people trying to keep track of the dub and the cast in it.
Right.
This was back when Kids WB and probably YTV and everybody were squishing the end credits to like literally where you were on this. So, and I'm taping the episodes, like coming home from school. So I have grainy shit quality VHS with like a third of the screen, and I'm like, okay, Savage Man, Tony A. Campbell. I don't know who, and me, Mr. Rolodex, as you can tell. I'm like, I don't know who that is. Maybe it's somebody new. There were lots of new people on that show. Turns out, like a year later, I find out I was reading Spike Man, voiced by Tony Alcantar. Different character, different person. Didn't realize Savage Man was swapped in with the 15 other people you had on your credit.
Right, okay.
But
I'm surprised they even gave us credits on.
No, that was one of the rare shows they had name of actor and name of character.
I thought it was going to be like, I was so impressed with you, Scott, because I couldn't even tell it was you. And then it turned out it wasn't.
It wasn't, yeah. No, and I found out it was
this fucking interview's over.
But there it goes. Yeah, thanks for coming, everybody. No, but so because I was wrong and misread this, literally there was an article for Tony A. Campbell, a person that doesn't, me misreading Tony Alcantar's name, on the internet everywhere for like a good 2 years with his one credit, Savage Man from Mega Man. I'm like, oops. Got that fixed, and then I was like, I need to use a pseudonym for something. I've done it.
Tony A.
And
Campbell.
there I was for 1 or 2 shows I ever did.
Nice.
But all because I couldn't tell that you were doing a Dr. Claw thing on that. So
See, people can't think that illiteracy is bad, but it ain't always the bad.
Paid off from me in the end. So
ain't nothing bad.
I have to, a time like that where they're just like, fuck it, do whatever. I have to imagine that, guys like Carl and James Corrigal and all the people at Ocean that like you were in every 5 seconds. I think James literally said you were like the person that hit the 100 line an hour mark on like Monster Rancher. He was something about like Suezo on Monster Rancher would have like a bajillion pages of reacts in a row. You'd do it beat after and they just move it back. It's like, it's done. We're good. Moving on.
Yeah. Yeah. You can get a little caught up in the details sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, good Lord. But
and I'm guilty as hell of that. And then, the technical people start going, dude, watch this. Boop, move that over 2 frames. I'm like, God damn, that fits perfectly then.
It sounds like we're
okay. Well, then I won't even care. I'm not even gonna look at the fucking screen now. I'll be back here in my boxers sipping on a drink.
I have to imagine that was a pretty magical time with like literally going around town, just seeing all these people that working. Yeah. Even if you're by yourself, like even like I know like.
Well, I mean, going in and out of anime sessions, you go into the waiting room and everybody's there.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, so-and-so's in Studio C, we're over in B on this one. I said to somebody the other day, I went, working back in the day was our social life.
Yeah.
When people go, hey, you see anybody anymore? It's like, no, because every day we used to just go to studio and, and it was never the same people every day. That was kind of one of the beauties of it. It wasn't like going, if I have to say that, my friend, one more time, I swear to God, I'm just going to go. Well, so you go to work and it's like, who am I going to see? When you go to auditions, it was like, who's going to be there? This is great.
Well, who, on that note, who are like your like compadre, like of all the, because I know you got to be friendly with everybody, but who are like your compadres that like ride or die type people like for all these years, like after all this
what it's because that was a long time ago, right? Mm-hmm. People have done different things in their lives and moved on. I was definitely tight with the 3-headed Dobson monsters, Mikey Dobson particularly, because I was partially responsible for that whole thing happening.
Yes, yeah.
Because I think I met Mikey first and I went like, holy shit, you're fucking weird as hell. Have you ever thought about doing this? Mm-hmm. So her. And so, started getting Mikey and stuff, and then Paulie, and then Brian. So, we used to hang with those. We used to hang more through work than anything else.
Yeah.
People have families and people have real lives and blah, 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 blah. We used to party a lot together too back in the day, but we don't do that no more.
Yeah.
Half the people we were the young Turks on there, they're all grandparents now.
Yeah.
So, I don't get a chance. Sadly enough, and this is a true story, and I sort of alluded, I ran into all these people recently at a memorial service.
Yeah, I heard.
So, yeah that was like, so, you get to an age in a career, it's like, well, I guess we'll all get together again when the next of us dies.
No, listen, let me ask this actually, because not to beat, but just while we're in downer territory for a moment, I never had the pleasure of meeting Kirby. I've met a lot of you guys from up there. Never had the pleasure, but I know. He was like relative. I think he started on Turtles. I think that was his first show, if I'm not mistaken.
You could be right.
Yeah. Because he talked about how painful the Michelangelo callback was. I believe that was like, is this normal? But I know he for as much as him like I'm the young ingenue, he was a fucking character-y whack job just like the rest as well.
Well, yeah. I used to cite Kirby as an example all the time when I used to teach. I said, there's weirdos like me and a bunch of others that, it's like, we have no idea what his real voice is. Mm-hmm. And then there's guys like Kirby that always ended up sounding like Kirby. And I always said, but don't be mistaken, Kirby could do like a billion different freaking characters, but he was really good at playing Kirby. Yep. And I said, the important thing with that was he was an incredibly brilliant actor at it. It wasn't just being a voice. And I've always stressed, it was like, voice acting. What's the most important part of that? Actor.
Yeah.
You're making characters. And so I used to use Kirby as an example for that all the time. About just
no,
Kirby sounded blonde.
Absolutely. No, and all the leading. Him and Matt and Sam and Brad
Yeah.
and Cole Howard in more recent years. He's not even like new at this point. I mean, like all those guys are so versatile and so funny, and like it's why I'm like, bring me back my fucking Canadian cartoons and anime dubs, man. What I need to do is I need to just fund something and just bring it up to you guys for fuck's sake. That's what I gotta do. You mentioned also just day-to-day life. What's a day in the life for Scott? I know you've been a gamer forever. I don't know if you still play WoW and Minecraft or whatever, but what's
you know what?
Today?
My WoW career ended tragically as my dream came true.
Oh, I know this one. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
And
you know
came
all my
here for
story,
that, right?
Like, don't you just have a macro on your computer you can just press and it was like, yeah, this is Scott's bit about
But you came here to do that, right?
yeah, I did actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was while they were shooting the movie here.
Yes, that's right.
And I couldn't get an audition for the movie. Nothing for anything. The casting people had ideas about me, and they were like, "No, Scott's totally not right for this." Like, I have played this fucking game every fucking day of my life since vanilla. You know what that means? You don't, do you?
The game launched.
So every day, through everything. And couldn't, I'm going, I just want to be like, just let me be a fucking orc someplace in a background. I just want to do it.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. They won't see you for it. And then apparently Blizzard had been searching for like 3 years to find the voice of Durotan. And Randall Ryan, who lives in Mexico now, works out of Mexico, he's casting, and he does not like the mainstreamy stuff. I don't even know how Randy and I first sort of met, but he brings me in for a lot of stuff. And he was the one that was talking to Blizzard and said, "Look, I got this guy. I got a guy for that." And so they brought me in, and we started working together. And it was like they were going, "Yeah, this is the shit." And I remember calling my agent. And I'm going, "You make this work." Like, well, Scott, it's just like, no, it's not just a gig. You don't understand.
Yeah.
This is important. All I need is a warrior at my side.
Can I
So I did it, and you know the ending of the story. So I do it, and it's so much fun, although they didn't do as much with Durotan as I was hoping, who was the main character in the movie, by the way, that I was completely wrong for.
Yeah.
And then I go to play it now, and as soon as I'm in it, it's like, wait, this isn't real, is it? These aren't real things. These aren't real.
The magic
and I've
is
done
gone.
sessions for them since. I've actually done a fair bit for Blizzard, and I've done a bunch of other stuff. But it's like, okay, that's done. And I haven't really played since.
Wow. Do you play anything anymore?
No, I think video games are stupid. I've been playing Dying Light 2 through a fair bit of this interview, to be honest.
Okay.
We mentioned that ADHD, in order for me to sit still in one place long enough to do an interview.
You're hearing Jonah Scott and Roger Craig Smith, I think, mixed in there, who are both brilliant.
Could be.
Yeah.
I try, I find if I start looking up the voices in games, then it's like, it's the same thing. It's like, fuck. That's so-and-so. Or it's like, holy shit, that's so-and-so. That's fucking amazing. But then I'm hearing the voice actor.
I know. Yeah, I know.
Or the actor.
People cannot watch anime with me. It's horrible. You reminded me, this was not a planned question, but you reminded me of something. So you came here to do WoW.
Yeah.
Now, because I've never gotten a full answer on this, my perspective was when they were doing Transformers animated and specifically wanted to put in Waspinator and a version of Rat Trap, and they specifically wanted Dave K to be Optimus because they loved his work on Beast Wars.
Yeah.
My perspective that I heard later was they wanted you, and you couldn't because of some kind of union thing.
That is not, in fact, the case. Okay. I know, hearing it peripherally, that Dave went, no, that's Scotty's role. I won't read that. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, it's the nature of this business. No, people say, well, why didn't you do it? It's like, I would have done it in a fucking heartbeat.
Yeah.
Waspinator, no one delivering pineapple into the sea.
Good Lord.
And that is, of all characters I have ever played, most of them are rehab, but Waspinator is mine.
Yeah.
I created him. He's unique. I have heard more people do terrific Waspinator impersonations than any other character I've ever done.
You want
like little kids that it's just like, oh my God, you guys are good. But that to me is like a seminal. That would be like what is the one voice that was Scott McNeil's voice? It was Waspinator.
I need to tell you.
And then another thing that I said, oh, you're back, are you?
No, hold on. I'm 10 years old at the time. My favorite Nintendo character in the world is Bowser from Super Mario Brothers. And I'm like, wouldn't it be funny if
Peaches.
Wouldn't it be funny if he was Jack Black? Just kidding. Wouldn't it be funny? He's great though. If his actual, like his fake voice is, but actually, because he's a little tiny munchkin, actually sounds like this. And when I go into the studio, that just puts me down. I go, and then no one would know. As a child, independent of anything, brothers. Yeah, I wish animated would have worked out. I wish you should.
It would have been fun. I mean, it would have been work. People go like, "What would you do the new if they do a Beast Wars?" Well, apparently Transformers did a Beast Wars movie. They didn't ask me to be in it.
I don't even.
And then I just did one of the first cons I've done in years. I did one in Jersey. It was a lot of fun. But I was signing shit, like I was signing actual rat traps and Waspman, but it wasn't from our show.
Yeah.
So I went, is somebody else literally now, not like, they literally hired some day players to come in and try to do our characters. That didn't make me too happy.
Yeah. So a lot of them, I spot checked. A lot of them were like doing their own thing-ish. Some of them were, some of them.
I don't blame them. I wouldn't do. It's like, fine.
Yeah, no, I've been in that position.
DBZ got good in Texas after they stopped trying to sound like us and started doing their own thing with it.
Okay, on that note. Okay, it's time for nerdism. You are my final frontier for anything, because you are one of the only people that remembers anything, which means the pressure.
I am space.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
I am space.
So, 2000
final frontier.
The final frontier. You must tell me anything. 2009, 2010 rolls around. From what I understand, they bring everybody into re-audition for their own characters on, apparently we're redoing Dragon Ball Z again, guys.
Okay.
So,
is this for Kai?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
So, here is everything that I know from every little bit of research that I've done for the last probably now 15 years. Jesus H. Christ. Some unknown entity gets the broadcasting rights only, not home video, nothing, just the broadcasting rights to Canada, Europe, and Australia for Kai, and they commission Ocean to do the first 99 episodes of the show, which was everything from the very beginning with Farmer and Field to the end of when Cell is defeated. So they did. I
have the trading card somewhere.
Oh, hell yeah. We like to call him Farmer with Shotgun, which is his proper Christian name.
This up here is my wall of little plastic me's.
Oh, hell yeah.
Some of them.
And are there some brains up there too? Are some brains? Oh, hell yeah. Yes. So 99 episodes.
No, my cell. Can you see that?
Ooh, where? Oh, no. It's angled off. Oh, now I see it. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Part of my plan to take over the world. And this one, I don't know if my phone's pointing in the right direction.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's...
Where am I? There we go.
Yes.
In case anybody ever wonders, yes, I do have a strange fixation with the brain.
Yeah, Scott, to get back on camera, I shall bop you. So they do auditions. It appears to be 30% the old gang: Scotty, Drummond, Mike Dobson, Saffron, people from the Calgary Blue Water stuff that did GT, and some of them, and 30% all new folks. Richard is the new Goku. Lee is the new Frieza. Cole is the new Android 17, who you would have had a fight with, etc.
I thought I was Android 17.
No, 16, the big tall guy.
Yeah, the big yes. Okay.
Yes, humans.
Did you? How dumb and deep can you sound?
Did you do him again for Kai, if you remember?
I have no idea.
Okay.
From my side of it, it was like, okay, so seriously, haven't I already done this show? Okay, I'll go on audition.
Yeah.
I talk into a little box, it goes up a string, and then I don't worry about what happens to it after that.
Okay. My understanding was much like with what Funny did with it when they were doing it at the same time. The whole order of the day was, let's do it like a proper anime dub. We'll make it like the 3 movies we did. We'll make this closer to what the actual story is. We don't have to censor shit. You're not getting blasted to Hiffle.
Yeah, we're not card captor Sakuraing it.
Oh, Lord. Oh, God. Yeah, that got the worst of it.
I don't think I was even in that one, but I remember at the time it was like, that's when that went.
Yeah.
This has gotten so dumb.
Yeah. I'm not dead. Yeah. The classic. So from because if this is the case, that literally would have been, oh, I'm doing the show again for 99 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you had also broken the bit about they were going with, we're going to say Namek instead of Namek.
Yeah.
And maybe
that was a long discussion.
Yeah.
There was a few things where, the new proprietors of the property. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no, you know what? Like, we did 10 years on this show and I've done a shit ton of conventions since. You can't just change shit.
I mean, at that point, it was going to be like,
change things.
Look, if you're changing Namek to Namek, you change Saiyan to Saiyan. You go whole hog or you don't do it at all. But nonetheless, literally anything at all that you remember about coming back to do that again, even if literally it was just as simple as, I'm Piccolo again after all this time.
Well, you know what? It was a little more than that because I went, having done a bazillion conventions in between having done it the first time and then that coming up. Because when we were doing it, we were just like, I don't know, it was just a gig. I think I played the green guy and a bunch of other guys. Mm-hmm. He gets to be a rock star for a while. But so when I got to go back in, I was pretty stoked because I was aware of the impact, of all the shows I've done. I think, I still see people wearing Dragon Ball Z gear. Mm-hmm. And I'm walking past them on the street going, no, you have no idea. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's like, you might plot a little if you knew. Although probably now to be like, no, you were never. Oh. So I went, it's actually pretty cool because having evolved much more of an understanding of the show through conventions and meeting all the people to watch it and everybody my friends at conventions and getting to understand more of the impact of the show. Mm-hmm. I went, dude, this is a chance to go in and do it right.
Yeah.
Because before we honestly just didn't really care that much.
Yeah.
It was just another show. Like I remember doing the last ones and then going, okay, well, I'll see you guys next Tuesday for the next, and they go, that's it.
Yeah.
What?
It's as simple as
that. Well, that's it. It's like, we've been doing this for 10 years.
Yeah.
It's my Tuesday gig. What the fuck? It's like, no, it's over. Yeah, they moved it to, and then we went back and did it anyway. And so, 10 years. So now I went, okay, now I know a little bit more. Plus, I was a little older. I think, I'd kind of grown into the voice a little more. Mm-hmm. Because I've heard some of the I don't hear much of stuff I do, but I remember somebody showing me clips going, well, see how, McNeil's compares to, and I'm like, yeah, it sounded like I was pushing a bit to get that gravitas.
I don't know, man.
Now I was pretty excited to go in and do it and do it right.
Yeah.
There was another show we did at Ocean. I don't remember what it's called. It was this weird sort of anime parody spoof thing.
Oh, yeah, that Charlie Adler directed, I think. Yeah.
I don't know if Charlie directed it. He's a crazy motherfucker, by the way.
I love that man very much.
He's insane.
I'm going to get the name
certifiably in all the best ways. Yes, insane.
100%. I know what you're talking about. I'm going to pull up the name of it. But yes, that show. Continue.
Yeah, it started with the G. Anyway, there was a character in it called, I think, Green Antenna Man.
Gintama. No, that was an
Gintama,
anime. Yes, I know.
I mean, it was one session one day, but Randy Rigger from Ocean just went, hey.
Yeah.
What if I could get the guy
was very
that
happy
played
about that.
Green Antenna Man in that other series? So I got to go in and do that. So I've actually played him 3 times now, I guess.
Yeah.
This is a prop. It's a character.
It's a piece of chalk. Little snacky.
It's candy cigarettes. Can't get those anymore.
Yeah, man. I want to be hearing you in more of my cartoons and games and shit. more games.
I'd love to be doing more. I mean, I do a fair amount of video games still-ish, but, you know, they're not necessarily... Because, I mean, video game voice, it's not really voice acting anymore. I mean, the performances now, like, here's a person that I met once at Texan at a convention back when it was, like, just the Texans doing the anime, and you'll know the name, Troy Baker.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, holy fuck. Like, that's a whole different, that's a different world now.
Yeah.
And it's not voice acting. It's performance capture. You know, I've seen a million interviews with Roger Clark from Red Dead and stuff. And so that's kind of, it's gone a bit blockbuster Hollywood in that, you know, us voice actor guys aren't doing a lot of those titles.
But you know what? I mean, look, because
even though we can do them, but they're going, yeah, we're looking for a much more subtle, like, you know, you got to be able to say, like, I've done mocap, I've done.
That's what I'm saying.
But now it's come down to a name, right? You know, you put Troy Baker's name on a game, people are going to buy that game. I'm going to buy that game. He's that fucking good. He pisses me off, for the record, but he's that fucking good at playing very real, very human characters that you go, damn, that's all him. Fuck, he's good.
Yeah. Listen, man, I wrote, here's another little thing in case this wasn't clear. I wrote into Brent Miller's interview with you. And my question was, ever thought about coming out here? And you said, I think my window's kind of done. Maybe if I'd done like 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And especially right now in May 2025, excuse me, I understand. However, I've said this to every Canadian actor I've ever said and talked about that. I think you would be a force to be reckoned with, and I think that you should pursue it. This is what my generation calls manifesting. I'm
okay. I guess I could take advantage of the fact that I'm so forgotten now that I could show up as the new kid.
Yeah.
And be like, hey.
Yeah.
Say, you can do all sorts of cool tricks.
Yeah.
Well, we got a guy that, you know, he does those now. He lives in a pineapple under the sea, but well, there's a bunch of us, like in the day, way in the day, when it was like, you know, the standard lecture from the LA people was like, yeah, you Canadians are very cute. Don't forget, we're coming up here because you guys are cheap, and don't even think about.
No.
Scott, can I see you in the office for a second?
Yeah.
I had a few like big companies go, what the fuck are you doing here? You could be multi-millions down. And I'm like, you know, I'm married. I got my house here. I like it here. So I didn't. Now, I mean, I'm 104 years old, boy.
And you look great.
Thank you. See, you tell them you're 104, then they find out you're only 90. They're like, holy shit, what's your secret?
I had Drummond on maybe 2-3 years ago. Funnily enough, my roommate made the original Over 9,000 video, and they met, and I think time space split. It was hysterical. I asked him. He's like, my kids are grown up, man. I want to go work with guys like LaMarche and all those dudes. Like, it'd be time for daddy to go play in a different sandbox. I'm not saying it's an easy, magical wave of hand and it happens, but I'm saying, man, as literally a fellow professional and as a fan, and even as someone who's dipped a little into casting, I want it to happen. I think that if it's not that I don't pretend to know what your day-to-day in terms of pursuing stuff is, but I want to see it happen by whatever means it has to happen. So that's me putting that out into the universe.
You know what? Like Wonder Twins' power of let's make it happen. Let's make it happen.
Absolutely.
Although, you know, of course, politically, it's a strange time to be changing countries.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of reasons that I want to get the fuck out of Canada, but there's a lot of reasons that probably didn't want me coming down there.
I do. Because I said so.
But, you know, and the thing now is like, you know, everybody, I have a studio in my house. Everybody has a studio. Because that's the business now. So I can literally work anywhere in the world.
That's true.
Like I thought I might do what Randy did. I'm just going to move to Mexico and just work in my underwear.
Are you?
It's like, okay.
Are you?
Because I know like Corlette's down there. I know Trevor went down.
Trevor's
in
Texas
did.
now. Trevor's in Texas now, but he's got a home studio that could produce a whole thing.
What the hell's he doing in Texas?
Living happily with his wife and playing D&D all the time. Dave K is still here. Brian Dochua, a newer kid who's so sweet, just came out here a little while ago. You know, like, are you SAG as well?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, there's no reason not to.
I'm SAG because I do a bunch of stuff for Blizzard. So
Yeah. Then,
which I do up here, but for some reason they went like, okay, we got to get a SAG contract. And I just found my SAG card upstairs while I was looking around for my other microphone.
I literally was talking to bring the curtain back. I was literally talking to your lovely agent Jack a while back of like, can I just send you guys stuff if something comes up? Because why?
Absolutely.
Like you have Venus and Colin and all these great. I was like, the fuck is okay. So
because the industry in Vancouver is, for all I's and P's, as far as cartoons go, it doesn't exist. It's dead. Yeah, I'll work anywhere. That's why I said I do a lot of, and most of the stuff I do now is, I get emails and stuff from Randy all the time, say, we're looking for this, we're looking for this character. I'm like, okay, I'm your guy.
Listen, we find a way to adapt. Like, these things change a lot. Everything changes in different ways.
Yes. And life will find a way.
Yes. Yeah. So it's time to adapt, evolve, transition.
All right, I'm tired of being semi-retired.
Good. I did it. I did my other goal of both learning things about you I didn't know from Anime Cons and planning that idea in your head. It has been an hour and a half. Can we do one last thing before I let you go back to the cave?
Seriously? An hour and a half?
Oh, yeah.
So that's Frieza. I see. Well, he's even more hideous than I imagined. Well, if you're feeling brave, stick around and you'll see for yourself. But it's only fair to warn you, after I've defeated Frieza, you'll be next, Vegeta. Now then, time to give this monster a taste of his own medicine. I'll fight alone. The rest of you stay out of my way. Take shelter before you get caught in the crossfire. Go now!
Scott McNeil, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey!
I would say, where can people follow your work, but you don't do social media because you're a good boy and a healthy human being?
You know what? Here's my social media story, and I'll make this clear right now as I can. My Scott McNeil Facebook disappeared.
Oh.
I can tell you exactly when, in 2022 or 2021.
Oh.
So I now, I don't know how I got it, but there's another sort of unused Scott McNeil page, which seems to be mine.
Okay.
So I popped onto that the other day just, to see if I could see boobies anywhere. And there's the usual, people you may know. Mm-hmm. So I went, hey, look, I may know Scott McNeil. So I click on that. It's my old Facebook page. Mm-hmm. Nothing's happened on it since 2021. Uh-huh. It's still there. I was kind of thinking maybe somebody would be going, hey, Scott, it's us. Do you remember us? No, nothing. So it still exists, but I have no access to it. And I don't know if there's anybody out there that's Facebook savvy enough to help me get my page back. I might actually have.
I would say perhaps somebody at Meta could help you, but that doesn't sound like a realistic thing that would happen. I guess otherwise, people should look to the skies for you to be in whatever TV show that they're watching, or eventually a cartoon or something. And
I do bits here and there, and then I do on-camera work as well. I just did Tracker, but I do the usual whenever they need now. It's like, this is what I tell my agent. It's like, you know what? I'm bored. I want to do some on-camera work. I tell you what, I'll grow a beard. And it always seems to work. I very rarely ever play a clean-shaven person on camera.
Yeah.
And then this time I thought, I'm going to see if I can grow an actual beard, which I always swore I couldn't.
Yeah.
But now that I'm a senior citizen and I get my senior discount, I was like, fuck it. Now it's a beard. Now I've gone down the wormhole of beard culture.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because you're already a hair guy. Once you inevitably grow your beard, call me. Seriously, I can tell you all about beard oils and beard balms and beard butters and all the good companies and how to make your own, because, of course, I make my own products.
When I hit my 40s and a few more years, maybe I'll take you up on that offer, because I'm enjoying my what left of my baby face that I still have to fool people into thinking I can play kid characters.
See, the joy if you grow a really heavy beard, which I didn't do until I was in my 60s, and then you do shave it off, people go, oh my God, you look like you're 10.
We'll hire you to play 10-year-olds again. Maybe.
No. The police say I'm not allowed to do 10-year-olds anymore. Seriously, you're going to end on that joke? It's a joke.
Oh, Christ almighty.
For God's sake, it's a bloody fucking joke. That's all I can say. You people think you've got your sense of humour, but you don't. Oh, sorry, there's a tariff on that joke.
They can't even find you. It's okay. They'll never catch you.
No, it's because I don't have a Facebook anymore.
Yeah.
Somebody help me on that. No, I would love to get it back because then suddenly people go like, "Dude, we have been trying to get in touch with you for for a con or whatever for 100 years." I'm like, that's how I used to do it. So just hit me up on Facebook. I'll go, oh, okay, sure, why not?
I'm glad you're doing more cons again. I hope that people will.
I'm not. I'm doing one.
Okay.
Apparently, somebody set up. I was supposed to be doing a tour.
Oh.
This year of like 6 cities in the States.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, okay, like I even got, the tour bus is out back. I got my face painted on it. And then I keep going to Jack, like, what happened? They're going, I don't know. The guy just went radio silence.
We'll have to change that.
Yeah. Take that, you biatch. So, I do cons when I can. If I can, I'm doing one in Birmingham, England this year.
Nice.
I'm going off to Birmingham to work on me brummy. Birmingham. No, I gotta get that right.
That accent for the first time on Thomas the Tank Engine. I was like, "What is that?" And my British friend's like, "It's a Brummie accent." I'm like, "Oh."
It depends. You want a contemporary Brummie? Yeah. Anyway, watch Peaky Blinders. Just for no other reason, just fucking watch Peaky Blinders. It's such a good show.
Hey, this was a long time coming, and thank you for giving me an hour and 42 minutes of your time that I did not expect to get. In the midst of this.
I get paid by the minute. You know that, right?
2 hour minimum. So we
this is my 900 life. I love you long time for this long time Joe. You pay per minute.
But I won't. I'm going to stop recording now. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all learned something, and I'm going to continue to put it out there.
Wait a minute. People were watching this?
Oh, shit.
You didn't tell me this was live. Wait, we have to do it all again. For God's sake, I wasn't ready. That was just a rehearsal.
Guys, I will make you this promise. Scott McNeil will return to your cartoons and anime once again. No!